All right, guys, it is another great episode of Poetry Worldwide, and we are going back around the United States and we are picking up another great, fiery young poet. So before we get started, we want to just thank WYTV7 for believing in us poets, artists, hip hop artists, spoken word artists, and giving us a platform to reach the world. So we got one voice, we got one mic, and we are reaching over 40 million people. So just think 40 million people are going to be hearing this next poet's voice, and we're excited about it. So we just appreciate WYTV7 for bringing us this great space to work in. This poet coming up, I discovered her actually from a poet that just did an interview, Mr. Adam Cooper. Adam Cooper tagged this poet on Instagram, so she already has mad love from Ireland. So somebody from Ireland tagged her in a Instagram post and just said, "Hey, you guys need to have this poet on your show." So, without further ado, we are introducing for her worldwide premiere, the Nikki Eason. Nikki, what's going on?
I'm good. I mean, when you were saying all these numbers, I'm excited. I didn't even know I was in Ireland. That's
Yep,
amazing.
yep.
Wow.
The one guy that we literally just interviewed on our first show for this new season, he he just said, "Hey, at Poetry Worldwide, you guys need to hear her." And so I wanted to kind of shock you,
You
and,
did.
let you know that yeah, somebody in Ireland heard your stuff and was just like, and just kind of passed it on and was just like, you guys need to hear her work. So we're excited. We're blessed to have you on the show, and we really want to get into you as a person and your art, and what kind of artistic things you see going into the future. So we first wanted to ask, who is Nikki Eason? So who is this person behind all of the clothes and the Instagram pages, but who is she really?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a great question. I'm a confident, innovative, spiritual, androgynous woman. I feel like I'm a servant of God, here to uplift, inspire, and encourage people to remember their power. And I do that by releasing videos and messages that spread love and truth about who you are, truth about whose you are. And I'm just here to continue to impact the world and influence the world with my words and figure out ways to serve people with doing that. I'm originally from South Carolina, but I actually live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I am a inspirational performance artist. I am a creator, producer, and director of my own show called The Androgynous Model. And I also am just a creator. I'm a creative. I think of amazing things to do. Some people have called me a spoken word artist. Some people have called me a freestyle motivational speaker. And I'm just receiving all of that. So, but more importantly, I feel like that I'm a seed of power and transformation. And I feel like God blessed me with a God given talent when it comes to speaking. And I intend to use that for the rest of my life to uplift people and get them to remember that you are a miracle of greatness under love, which is an acronym for the word mogul, why I call myself a mogul, because I felt like I never could be solidified to one thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a mogul. That's what I'm going to go by, Nikki Eason the mogul. And when I came up with that acronym, that's been my message. I want people to realize you were born to be you, and you are a miracle of greatness under love. You are a miracle because you're still here. You have greatness because greatness was already instilled in you, and you under love, for God is love, always guiding you through this world to get you to your purpose. And part of my thing is to make sure that I live out the most highest, truest expression of myself.
Wow.
I know there was a lot, but when you
I
asked
know.
me, go in.
I'm taking it all in. I got blown away by another interview, and this one I think is, I'm just gonna have like all of my hairline is just gonna probably be back here somewhere. So I'm just taking it all in, and just very, very powerful message. So I I think that's a big thing now is, or I don't want to say now, but I think maybe we're getting a little bit more recognition that people have been living, their lives for other people. So now
Mhm.
we've got to get people back on track to where they're living who God created them to be. I mean, their genuine true self, because even in the word it says we have to worship him in spirit and in truth. So if you're not being yourself, how can you worship a God that is truth, but you live in somebody else's life? So to me, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect. It's not word based. So you have to pretty much be yourself in order to commune with God himself.
Mhm.
So you have to present your true face.
I
So
agree.
that's a powerful message right there. So we always ask, it's a thing that we have here on the show. I'm always fascinated by how did you start writing, and what motivated you to start speaking and to start creating?
I think what motivated me was really knowing that I've always been a speaker. I've always been a creative and an artist. And I think there was a part of me at a time that was like, I just, maybe I want to do music because I always like to freestyle over different beats and do all of that. But then it came to a point where I was like, you know, part of what we are here to do is to use our most powerful tool, and that's our voice. And I was like, I want to make sure that what I'm saying, it can stick with people, for the rest of their lives. I didn't want it to be just like this quick thing to say and people in it. No, I want to be able to say something that makes them change or transform, an individual into becoming better. So there came a point where I've always been interested in quotes. I love quotes. I'm like a quote addict, and I was like, why don't I actually take, quotes and like turn them into inspirational messages? And I feel like that's kind of how it all came about, not to mention different experiences that I went through, dealing with toxic relationships, not being accepted in certain work environments, to where I had went on this journey to find, the things that I needed, and that was joy, peace, love, and happiness, and more importantly, the truth of who I am. So I said, why can't I take those things that people are searching for and put them into messages to where they get it? So now it just comes off as I see a quote or somebody gives me a sentence and I just surrender to the moment. A lot of people don't know when I do, different videos, all of that is really off of my dome. It's not a thing where I write. I've been able to write and actually put poetry together, but there's a I would say an awesome moment when I just, let God use me in the moment, and whatever comes through me, comes through me. And it just inspired me to continue to put messages out there because I think people needed to hear it. And once I actually understood what it meant to be your true self, I wanted people to know it. I wanted people to understand that it's okay to be who you are. You don't have to change, change who you are, because no one is you and that is your power. And once I got that, I was like, everybody needs to get this message. But I was like, most people listen to words. So let me try to figure out a cool way to where it flows kind of like a spoken word, but it's also amazing information in a short amount of time with a lot of punches that just makes them wake up. And that's just what happened.
Yeah, definitely one of the videos that I saw, um, after your famous international best friend, kind of got us connected to you,
Uh-huh.
was I, I I can remember bits and pieces of it, but I know that it came off as just very powerful. I mean, just kind of like a really quick, good, stiff jab, and I was just kind of like, whoa, okay. And with everything being, I call it kind of fast food. We living in this fast food culture where like you have that long to get somebody's attention
Right.
and keep it. It definitely had that power. So we're gonna let people know your Instagram, how to reach out to you so they can hear that and get that mogul experience. That way, they can be uplifted and motivated to walk in their true calling.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, you have a lot of things going on, a lot of very, very good gifts. Who do you wish to reach with your writing? Like, do you say, would you say that you have a target audience, or is it just anybody that hears you?
You know, people have asked me that a lot, and I really still end up going by to anybody who hears me, because I feel like what I'm saying could impact any parts of the generation. You know, it could impact the young, it could impact the millennials, and even older people, you know, who kind of have been set in their ways and just trying to figure out a new way or new perspective of looking at things. So I just say anybody who's willing to listen and who's there will be able to learn something, you know, from me. Most times when I look at like my insights, it is between like ages 25 and like 45. But I've had older people when I would speak at certain events or, you know, on Instagram, they'll hit me up and be like, you know, I'm such and such age, and I never looked at life like that until what you said. So I think that I'm just here for anybody who's able to listen and who's willing to hear me out and actually take the time to look at their life. You know, I think when you're chosen for something like that, it really is whoever happens to get it at the time. So when people hit me up and like, you know, I really needed this message, I always respond to them and be like, oh, okay, so this was for you. You know, people forget that God uses other people to speak to you. So I never know that when I put it out, who's going through what, but apparently God knows. And apparently whoever checked in at the time was supposed to hit it. So I think it's a divine moment with whoever decides to take a look at it at the moment of where they are in the life. And God is like, listen, I know you're probably going through all of these things, but I need you to check in real quick and see this. And it just so happens to impact them. So I think it's just to anybody who hear it in a short way of saying, I know I get long winded, but I think it's just to anybody who hears it. And I'm open with that and I'm okay with that.
Well, no, that's actually a good point, because I had a pastor that would always say that we pray, but God shows up in another person. You know,
Yes.
because God is everywhere. He always joked. He said God is everywhere, but he can't be everywhere, so he will send you.
Yes.
And I've always said, even when I started on my I call it my beautiful grind out journey of poetry, is that sometimes you'll even go through something just so you can write about it, because a lot of people are going through stuff and they can't verbalize it. They
Right.
don't know how to express it. I think a poet's heart kind of, we always say that we always feel what the normal people feels 10 times more. So maybe we have that power to kind of be an empath and
Mm-hmm.
to write about it, because I know I've gone through some banana type situations and I'm like, I don't even know where this is coming from. And so when I do a open mic or a poetry slam or something like that, I'll have somebody come up to me and be like, girl, I'm going through that. I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay, so I went through that for you. I was like, man.
Right.
So like we could have skipped all that, but I mean, it is a part of the calling, a part of what we do. So I totally agree with you on that. And we talk so much about your poetry and what you do. Do you have a piece you would like to share?
Yeah, I actually will love to share a piece, but I need your help with something if you don't mind.
Okay, all right. What's up?
Just give me a sentence that's on your mind.
Mm. Bend but don't break.
Bend but don't break.
Yeah.
Bend but don't break. Okay. Bend but don't break. Listen, I know you're going to go through a lot of different things in your life, but I'm here to tell you to bend but don't break. Sometimes you actually got to go through things so it can prepare you for the next moment that's getting ready to come. But a lot of us actually see it, and then we break down so bad that we don't really realize that you just was bending to the point that you know that your story is not ending. God is actually taking you through these experiences, just as you said, to help somebody else. Maybe you're bending, maybe you're shifting, maybe you're growing into the person that you were called to be. But I need you to understand that breaking breaking sometimes needs to happen so you can be rebuilt. You need to be rebuilt into something, because where you're going, you got to be able to sustain it. That's the reason why sometimes bending and breaking is actually part of your journey to maintain it. You got to understand that people are going to say things about you. People are going to do things, but guess what? What people think about you is none of your business. I know a lot of times that you sit there and think like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? It's happening to you because it's happening for you. Where you're going in your journey, you got to be prepared. You got to know what it's like to lose everything. You got to know what it's like to not have people support you. All of that is part of your bending. All of that is part of your breaking. Sometimes breaking and bending has to happen to put you back together so you can actually be in the face of your enemies. The people that actually talked about you that wasn't really there for you, I know it hurt, but it bended you. It bended you. And sometimes it may bend you to the point that you got to get on your knees and ask God, like, why? Why is this happening to me? Why is this going to happen to me in this moment? Because I need you to understand that you are the one to do it. If not you, then who? Why not you? A lot of people sit and think like, why did this happen? Why not? It was supposed to happen. Who else around you can actually go through the same thing that you've been through? Who do you know in your family right now that can bend and break and still get a breakthrough? Sometimes you got to understand that you got to break down and bend to the point so you can get to the things that you're supposed to do. A lot of people don't understand that. But I'm here to tell you that it's okay to bend and break. Bend, but don't break, unless it's actually going to take you to the moment that you need to prepare to take. This is all coming off my dome because bending and breaking is what I had to do to actually get into my home and sit on my throne, because God said, listen, I know the moments that you've been through, but I didn't miss you and I didn't dismiss you from the things that you needed. I just bended and broke you so you can understand that you are the one that's never to be defeated or never to be depleted. I know that it hurts sometimes, but bending and breaking is everything that you needed. Think about it, Mogul.
Wow. I got you. Well, I'm on the show, guys, freaking out. So, you know, I don't hide nothing from my folks. So I'm taken aback. I can just hear people's glass on their phone breaking as they just hit that back button to go through it. Hey guys, if you do not know what stream of consciousness was, that was stream of consciousness. Please understand, Lord Jesus. Okay, she ain't rehearsed that. She just said, "Tell me something." I said, "Okay, bend but don't break." There you go. Even the station manager said, "Wow." So I mean, 40 million people just heard you go straight off the top. So I love that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. Let me try to get back to my
process it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot, but I loved it. So from here, I wanted to ask you something, because ever since this guy wrote The Purpose Driven Life, people have been crazy about finding their purpose. So it really, and you've displayed that, it really seems that you have found yours and that you have found that space. Is there any advice that you could give to people out there that are still searching, young or old, for what their purpose and what their God-given calling is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the advice is, first you got to listen to what it is that you feel, and you got to pay attention to what your life is saying. Like, you know when you're doing something and it makes you feel full, it makes you come alive. So ask yourself, what is it that you do that makes you feel that way? It's kind of like discovering your gift and your talent. And once you figure out that's what it is, then put all the energy into that of trying to continue to do that over and over and over. You know, I think for so long, because we've been caught up in the mentality of what we've been taught, that people think that just because you've been taught something doesn't mean that you can't unlearn it. You know, so if you're taught to, okay, go out here and get a job and get benefits and do all of this stuff, then that's the mentality that you're in. But sometimes it's not a part of the purpose of what you were called to do and who you were created to be. And I think all of us actually know, if we could do something for the rest of our lives and not get paid for it, I think that's part of your purpose. I can speak for the rest of my life and not get paid for it. I'm okay with that. I can continue to do this, you know, as long as I'm serving people. So figure out what it is that makes you feel alive and figure out how you can take that and serve other people. And I think you'll find your purpose in it. but you got to be for real about it. You can't be trying to look at everybody else and seeing what they're doing. What is it inside of you that you enjoy? And once you figure that out, figure out how you can serve people with the gift, because everybody has always been given gifts and talents. We've always had them. It may have taken some time to really hone into it, but you know what it is. So the main thing is trust yourself, trust your gift. And once you do that, your gifts will make room for you. And then you'll start being on your purpose-driven life.
Definitely. Well, that's a good full answer for anyone out there that feels that, you're trying to find your way, young or old. I know some older people still in their 50s and 60s still trying to figure out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with this one lady, and she always had this saying put up, and she said there's no traffic when you stay in your lane. And when you said, you can't be looking around, Keisha, she just posted up her new car, and Devontae, he just posted up his new job. You can't be looking around. You have to stay almost with blinders on,
Mm-hmm.
and stay focused on what your spirit, what your heart is calling you to do. And then you'll find that there's no traffic in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody can do what you can do, how you can do it.
That's
Nobody
right.
can do what I can do, how I can do it. So
Right.
it's just like we're all going to win together. Like, you gonna win, and I'm clapping for you. I'm going to win and you clapping for me. So, I mean, there's no room for jealousy. There's a lot of room for collaboration and everybody to serve everybody. So we have a lot of hands because we got a lot of people that are out there hurting. So I definitely understand that. And what do you feel, since you are a motivational speaker and influencer, what do you feel the world needs more of? So what is it missing? What do you think about that?
I think the world needs more love. I think people really don't understand that it's all about love, love of self and love of other people. Like, God is love, and I think if the world had more love, then things would change. And I ended up seeing this quote, and it was, when the power of love overcomes the love of power,
Hmm.
the world will know peace. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. And I think that we forget that. We get caught up in, oh my gosh, like this person got this, and that, or trying to love everybody else before we love ourselves. If you actually put all the love into you first and offer that to yourself, the same love that you give out to other people, I think the world would change, but those are hard to do because some people don't realize that they're not really vibrating in their true self and loving who they are. They're still caught up in trying to be somebody that they're not. And so when that happens, I think it creates a lot of confusion, throughout the world. Like, be who you are and love who you are. So ultimately, I just think the world needs more love, starting with our own individual selves. And then once you do that, look at the world, and see what needs to be different. And if it's something that makes you angry, maybe you were the person that was born to solve it. Maybe you were, like, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And that starts with loving you and actually creating change by changing yourself, your mindset, and anything of how you're looking at it to start impacting and inflicting a love and change throughout the world.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these things that you're saying, I think we kind of hear them, but
Mm-hmm.
really, if you go back and you think about it, we're the epicenter of change. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at everybody else to change it. Well, I think Sally ought to do something, or Sue ought to do something. Nah, Nikki needs to do something. Jess needs to do something. So we're literally ground zero of change that could
Mm-hmm.
go from the ground up. And that's actually how one of my organizations got started. Is I saw that there weren't too many places in Memphis to do poetry, and I wanted to just open up something to where we just focused totally on poetry, not prizes, not anything. People just wanted to get together and write,
Right.
and it had a lot of success. So I I definitely agree with you on that, and I do think that love is definitely love of self, not not selfish love, but love of self where you're coming from a genuine place
Hmm.
and then you're pushing that love out to other people. That's definitely the seed there. Now, as we're rounding out the interview, let people know about the androgynous model program and your other projects that are coming up. To me, that's fascinating. So how can people get involved with that?
Yeah, so the androgynous model is a modeling competition show that encourages others to be brave in their journey of accepting their true self. I have to always explain what androgyny is. Androgyny is one who embodies masculine and feminine characteristics. To be androgynous is the act of expressing those both genders through fashion, appearance, or lifestyle. So it's very similar, I would say, to America's Next Top Model, where I pretty much played a Tyra Banks of the show. So if Tyra's listening, hey, you inspired me. But I actually take androgynous individuals, male or female, and I put them in situations that help them overcome fear or self-awareness, accepting themselves, and getting them to believe in themselves. And they're in a competition to compete to be a part of my Between Us agency, which will serve as a platform for personal development. It'll kind of give, I would say, equal opportunities for employment in different organizations that's looking to be diverse and inclusive. So if anybody is interested, you can always go to my website, nikkieason.com, and apply, like fill out an application, because I'm getting ready to go into season 3 right now. But it's just those people who's looking for an opportunity that will allow them to be themselves. Like for so long, I always battled with feeling like I had to change who I was to be a part of different brands and organizations. So again, that was a problem that I saw in the world. And I said, why can't I create something that people don't have to change who they are? They can be who they are. I might kind of can prune and eliminate some things that's not helping them or working for them, but I want them to be them. And you can find that on YouTube. Season 1 and season 2 are on YouTube. And if anybody out there, like sponsors, or videographers, designers that want to showcase, their product on the show, please just email us, theandrogynousmodel@gmail.com, to get involved, because I think it's important to understand that representation is key. When you actually have a diverse and inclusive organization, more people who's looking at that organization will want to be a part of it. And I think that's what the androgynous model stands for. We're here to educate people about androgyny so they can stop judging people. And I want to inspire and motivate individuals and organizations to really realize that things need to change. And if you actually are not afraid of change, you can really impact the world by showcasing that everybody deserves the exact equal opportunity like anyone else. And I hope to do that on my show.
Wow, definitely. Well, I know that more people are becoming visible. We have people discovering themselves at faster rates. So definitely, if you are interested, link up with her. And that actually is a great segue into any upcoming events. How can people reach out and get in contact with you if they want to book you, and really get into your story? So what are your contact touch points there?
Yeah, so you can always email me at mogulmoments@yahoo.com for bookings, and explain to me about the event, and I'll check at my schedule and we'll talk about, see if I'm available to do it. You can follow me on Instagram at Nikki_Eason, that's EASON. You can find me on Facebook, Nikki Eason, Mogul Moments on Facebook, The Androgynous Model on Facebook. You can always go to my website, www.nikkieeason.com. You can go to my YouTube page for The Androgynous Model and Nikki Eason. Upcoming projects I have, I'm in the process of creating a membership site, for my content. A lot of people have reached out to me like, can you create something where I can just go there and just, listen? I know I can go on Instagram, but like a community. So I'm actually working, on that, and that should be released around the end of October, early November. So that's another way to be in the loop of stuff. But if you follow me on Instagram and social media, Facebook, you'll be able to find everything that I'm doing.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that information. And everybody out there, you've just witnessed wow.
Thank you
You
so
just witnessed wow. So I'm a wordsmith and I can't think of nothing to say. So I'm not even going to. Um,
Thank
but
you.
at the end of each show, if there's somebody watching and you do not have a personal relationship with God, that's where it all needs to start. You being your true self, you reaching people, you coming into your dominant gift. That has to start with a personal relationship with Christ. So if you don't have one, you can repeat after me, very simple prayer. Lord Jesus, I repent of my sins. Come into my life. I make you my Lord and Savior. And we here on the show believe that if you prayed this simple prayer, you've been born again. After that, we ask that you would please get into a Bible-based church and keep Christ as the first place in your life, and he'll take you to places you have never, ever dreamed of. So, once again, I am Jessica Crenshaw. That is y'all, mogul moment. Nikki Easton. Find her. She's everywhere. 40 million people know about her now. And we just had a ball here on the show. So once again, this is Poetry Worldwide, where we are giving poets a voice. Are you ready to be heard?